GMC is often seen as Chevrolet's quieter sibling, the one that built dependable trucks for farmers, contractors, and fleets. But behind that modest reputation lies a surprising legacy of high-performance pickups. From turbocharged engines to big-block V8s and sport-tuned suspensions, GMC flirted with muscle truck madness more than once. Some were ahead of their time, some were under-promoted, and others were simply too wild for the mainstream market. Here are 10 legendary GMC performance pickups that roared onto the scene, then vanished without a trace.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 10, the 1971 GMC Sprint SP, a muscle machine hidden in plain sight, overshadowed by its more famous Chevrolet cousin. When we talk about car-truck hybrids from the 1970s, one name dominates the conversation: the Chevrolet El Camino. But few remember that General Motors also gave GMC dealers their own version of this car-truck oddity, the GMC Sprint, and even fewer recall its most potent and rarest trim. The 1971 GMC Sprint SP, armed with optional big-block V8s, including the legendary 454 cubic inch engine, and available with SS-level performance equipment, the Sprint SP could go toe-to-toe with most muscle cars of its day. Yet history largely ignored it. By the late 1960s, the car-based pickup segment was well established, largely thanks to the success of the El Camino. But GMC dealers had nothing to offer in this category, a strange omission for a brand focused on trucks. That changed in 1971, when GMC introduced the Sprint, which was essentially a badge-engineered El Camino. It shared the same A-body chassis as the Chevelle and El Camino, the same sheet metal, interior, and drivetrains, even the same production lines in many cases. But instead of Chevrolet branding, it wore GMC badging, unique grills, and slightly different trim pieces. There were two trim levels: Sprint Base, Sprint SP, performance model, and that's where the real fun began. The Sprint SP was the GMC counterpart to the El Camino SS, and it could be loaded with serious muscle car firepower. In 1971, it was possible to equip the SP with the following engines: 350 cubic inch V8 standard for SP 402 cubic inch big block, V8 454 cubic inch LS, 5 big block V8 rated at 365 horsepower, 454 was the crown jewel. Even with the new net horsepower rating system and looming emissions regulations, it remained a torque monster, capable of launching the Sprint SP from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 7 seconds. Hauling asphalt and payload, you could option the SP with cowl induction hood, SS-style stripes and badging, sport suspension, dual exhaust, turbo hydromatic or 4-speed manual transmission, rally wheels and heavy-duty cooling. It was every bit a muscle car, just with a bed in the back. So, why didn't the Sprint SP catch on? GMC was known for trucks, not muscle. Buyers looking for style and speed went straight to the El Camino SS. Those loyal to GMC often opted for traditional pickups like the CK series. Only around 5,700 Sprint SPs were produced in 1971. Even fewer were ordered with the LS5 454, likely under 300. These were dealer-dependent vehicles, not heavily advertised. The El Camino SS appeared in films, drag strips, and ads. The Sprint SP, practically invisible outside a showroom. The Sprint SP simply lacked marketing push, dealer enthusiasm, and brand identity. It was a wolf in sheep's clothing, except the sheep was a parts bin rebadge. Despite being overlooked, the Sprint SP offered real muscle car excitement. The 454 V8 delivered massive low-end torque, perfect for both speed and towing. Rear-wheel drive with limited slip meant power could actually get to the ground. Handling was comparable to the Chevelle SS, not nimble but stable and predictable. You could option it with bucket seats, a center console, and a sport steering wheel, blurring the line between work and play. It was a bizarre blend of blue-collar practicality and boulevard cruiser attitude. Visually, the 1971 Sprint SP was almost identical to an El Camino SS. Same body lines, bed size, and muscle car stance. But a closer look revealed unique GMC badging on grille, tailgate, and hubcaps. Slightly different grille and headlight treatment, optional SP decals. Subtle and easily missed. That made it a perfect sleeper. Most people didn't know what they were looking at, and some still don't. Today, the 1971 GMC Sprint SP is a rare gem for collectors, particularly those who appreciate low-production muscle vehicles, oddball GM variants, sleeper styling with monster power. Restored examples, and especially with the 454 and 4-speed, can fetch strong prices, but the Sprint still lags behind the El Camino in recognition and value. That makes it undervalued, but also ripe for discovery. Number 9, the 1987 GMC Caballero Diablo, a forgotten footnote in the long, strange story of American car-truck hybrids. In the twilight of the muscle car era, few vehicles better represent the clash between image and substance than the 1987 GMC Caballero Diablo. It wore loud stripes, a sinister name, and muscle car cues. Yet under the surface, it was mostly a cosmetic twin of a fading breed. The Caballero Diablo was a badge-engineered sibling of the Chevrolet El Camino, and its 1987 edition marked the end of an era, the final year for GM's car-based pickup platform. But while the El Camino still gets a nod from enthusiasts and collectors, the Caballero, especially the Diablo trim, is all but forgotten. GMC's Caballero was born out of necessity, a product of General Motors' strategy to give its GMC truck dealers a competitor to Chevrolet's El Camino. Introduced in 1978 to replace the GMC Sprint, the Caballero shared its entire body, chassis, and drivetrains with the El Camino. Was built on the G-body platform, shared with the Malibu, Cutlass, and Monte Carlo. Was offered in various trims over the years: Base, Laredo, Amarillo, and the performance-themed Diablo. But make no mistake, this wasn't a ground-up muscle hauler. It was an El Camino with a different grille and badges, sold through GMC dealers. So why does the Diablo version stand out? The Diablo name meant devil in Spanish, and it tried to bring a sense of danger and speed to an otherwise humble machine. First introduced in the early 1980s, the Diablo trim stuck around until the final model year in 1987. Here's what made the 1987 Caballero Diablo unique: sinister graphics, bold Diablo lettering, devil-themed badging, and a large flame-style decal on the hood or sides. Two-tone paint, often with red, black, silver, or maroon base coats paired with accent striping. G-body underpinnings, meaning decent ride comfort and road manners for the time. Options list: bucket seats, rally wheels, bed trim, and sport mirrors were all available. However, despite the devilish image, there was no actual performance upgrade. By 1987, the available engines were a 4.3-liter V6 standard, a 5.0-liter 305 V8 optional, making around 150 to 170 horsepower, depending on emissions tuning. There was no big block, no 4-barrel performance carb, and no high-output variant. It looked like a muscle car, but sounded like a base model sedan. The 1987 Caballero Diablo was a swan song in many ways. Last year of production for the Caballero line. After this, GMC would never again produce a car-based pickup. El Camino also ended in 1987, meaning the entire G-body hybrid pickup platform was retired. At the time, compact pickups like the S-15 Sonoma and full-size trucks like the CK series were becoming the new standard for utility buyers. The market had shifted. Consumers no longer wanted stylized, low-slung pickups with car DNA. They wanted true trucks, and rising fuel prices and emission standards made car-based haulers less viable. And so, the Caballero, and the Diablo with it, simply vanished. By 1987, sales of the Caballero were minimal. Exact Diablo production numbers are unclear, but estimates suggest only a few thousand were built, making it one of the rarest G-body vehicles of the era. Why has the Caballero Diablo become so obscure? The El Camino had the brand recognition, the TV appearances, and the performance legacy. Most buyers didn't even know the Caballero existed, let alone the Diablo. The name Diablo promised heat, but the drivetrain delivered lukewarm results. In a decade that saw the rise of Turbo 4s and V8 Camaros, a 150-horsepower G-body pickup didn't stir much excitement. Most Diablos were used as regular transportation or light-duty haulers and were discarded. Restoration parts are scarce, and few enthusiasts have nostalgia for a car they never knew existed. Despite its lack of muscle, the Diablo looked cool. Bold graphics gave it an aggressive aftermarket look right from the factory. The styling was oddly retro-futuristic for the late 80s. It felt more like a late 70s custom build. In hindsight, it represented the last gasp of 70s-style bravado in a world quickly moving toward minivans, imports, and unibody trucks. The Diablo's cultural impact may be minimal, but in an era defined by sensible boxes and neutered performance, it dared to look wild, even if it didn't back it up. Number 8, the 1976 GMC Beau James, a unique truck aimed at a rare breed of buyer, the gentleman rancher, and one of the most unusual attempts by GM to blend cowboy charm with Cadillac-style luxury. In the mid-1970s, American pickup trucks were evolving. No longer were they just farm tools or worksite haulers. Buyers were starting to expect comfort, style, and status alongside utility. In response, GMC took a bold step by introducing a pickup truck with luxury touches more commonly seen in a Cadillac than a cattle ranch. That truck was the 1976 GMC Beau James, dressed in a striking two-tone blue and silver color scheme, adorned with plush interiors, and promoted with the tagline "For the Gentleman Rancher." The Beau James was one of the first attempts to create a premium lifestyle pickup long before that category exploded in the 2000s. It was a niche idea. It sold modestly. It vanished quickly. But it also foreshadowed an entire generation of luxury pickups to come. Let's take a deeper look at this odd but important vehicle. To understand the Beau James, you have to understand what was happening in the truck market during the 1970s. The oil crisis of 1973 changed how people viewed big, inefficient vehicles, but it also didn't kill the full-size pickup. More suburban buyers were turning to pickups as second vehicles or style statements. The big three, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, noticed a growing trend toward option-heavy, feature-rich pickups. GMC, always slightly more upscale than Chevrolet, decided to push that luxury image even further. The Beau James was introduced in 1975 as a 1976 model and based on the GMC Sierra Classic, itself the top trim of GMC's full-size pickup lineup. Here's what made the Beau James package unique. Exterior features: special two-tone paint, dark metallic blue with silver lower body panels and roof. Beau James script decals on the front fenders and tailgate, chrome bumpers and trim, including special wheel covers, padded vinyl roof, a classy, almost formal touch on a pickup truck. Interior features: plush velour bench seating, simulated wood grain dash trim, cruise control, air conditioning, and tilt steering, optional but commonly equipped. Beau James dash badge and color match carpet. Mechanical options: built on the heavy half-ton F44 platform, designed to legally carry higher payloads than standard half-ton trucks. Came with a 454 cubic inch V8 or a 350 small block, depending on the buyer's needs. Turbo hydromatic transmission, heavy-duty springs, and upgraded cooling system standard. GMC didn't just build a plush truck, they crafted a persona to match. Their advertising described the Beau James as a truck for the man who demands comfort and dignity, along with utility. It wasn't just a work truck, and it wasn't a show-off's toy. It was marketed toward a rugged individualist who had taste, money, and a need to haul hay or a horse trailer. In style. It was the perfect truck for the image-conscious rancher, or at least that was the theory. In reality, the gentleman rancher niche was small. Most ranchers wanted durability and reliability, not velour upholstery and vinyl roofs, and most luxury buyers still preferred cars over trucks at the time. So while the concept was intriguing, the actual market didn't bite very hard. The Beau James was only offered for 2 model years, 1975 to 1976. It never became a volume seller, and it was quietly discontinued without a direct replacement. Yet its legacy is worth noting. It was a precursor to modern luxury trucks like the Ford King Ranch, Ram Laramie Longhorn, and Chevy High Country. It was one of the first serious attempts to give pickup trucks true luxury styling and interior comfort, and it showed that GM was willing to experiment with blending working-class utility and upper-class polish, even if the result didn't stick the landing. Today, very few Beau James trucks remain, and even fewer survive in original condition. Several factors led to the Beau James becoming a forgotten footnote. Timing, it arrived just after the oil crisis, when buyers were backing away from large V8 engines and chrome-laden trucks. Price, it was relatively expensive for a pickup in 1976, making it a tough sell against simpler models or full-size sedans. Identity crisis. It wasn't quite rugged enough for serious work and not quite refined enough to lure luxury car buyers. Poor promotion. While it had a clear identity, it was a regional product with limited marketing and dealer support. Number 7, the 1982 GMC S-15 Durango. A lesser-known badge in GMC's compact truck lineup that attempted to blend off-road styling with urban practicality, but fizzled out almost as quickly as it appeared. In the early 1980s, the compact truck wars were heating up. Imports like the Toyota Hilux and Nissan Hardbody were dominating the small pickup segment, while American manufacturers were scrambling to respond. General Motors' entry was the S-15 under the GMC badge, and its twin, the Chevrolet S-10. These new compact trucks debuted in 1982, just in time for GM to claw back market share from the Japanese. But GMC wasn't content with offering a basic small truck. They wanted to give it personality. The result was the S-15 Durango trim, a special package meant to suggest ruggedness, capability, and off-road flair. It had the name of a cowboy town, the look of a trail rig, and a marketing aura of toughness. But it was all show and very little go, and because of that, the S-15 Durango was quickly forgotten. Let's explore the story of this short-lived truck variant that tried to act tough, but didn't have the muscle to back it up. Before diving into the Durango, we need to understand the context behind the S-15 itself. In 1982, GMC launched the S-15 as a compact, fuel-efficient alternative to its full-size trucks. It was based on the same platform as the Chevrolet S-10 and shared much of its engineering, offered with both 4-cylinder and V6 options. The S-15 targeted urban buyers, young drivers, and light-duty users. The goal: provide a cheaper, more maneuverable alternative to full-size pickups with decent fuel economy and everyday utility. But with the small truck segment already crowded, GMC had to do more than just show up. They needed a trim that would stand out on showroom floors. Enter the Durango package. The Durango trim was launched as a mid-level option designed to bridge the gap between the base model and the upscale Sierra or Gypsy trims. While not mechanically different, it aimed to look more capable and project an off-road, adventurous spirit. Features of the 1982 S-15 Durango included special graphics and striping, often featuring Durango decals, two-tone paint schemes, upgraded trim bits such as chrome bumpers, bright grille, and wheel arches. Available with either two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, but most were sold in two-wheel drive. Rugged-looking rally wheels or styled steel wheels, optional bucket seats and center console, depending on configuration, Durango-specific badging to give it some distinct flair. The Durango wasn't a performance package. It was primarily cosmetic. Under the hood, it had the same options as any other S-15A base, 1.9L, Isuzu-sourced inline-4, optional 2.8L, GMV 690 horsepower, not exactly thrilling. Optional 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic transmission. It looked ready to tackle the Rockies, but in practice, it was happiest hauling mulch from a suburban garden center. GMC tried to market the Durango to young professionals and outdoor enthusiasts, the same kind of audience that Ford was beginning to target with the Ranger. The Durango name, evoking the Wild West and open landscapes, was clearly chosen to give the truck some frontier attitude. It was aspirational marketing for buyers who wanted the look of a rugged lifestyle, even if they never left the pavement. But here's the problem. Beneath the adventurous name and stripes, the Durango was mechanically identical to the base S-15, and buyers quickly saw through the illusion. The Durango package was discontinued quickly, within a year or two, and there are several reasons for that. Despite the rugged appearance, the S-15 Durango offered no additional power, off-road suspension, or driveline improvements. It was all style, no substance, which disappointed buyers who wanted a real trail-ready compact. The 1.9-liter four-cylinder was underpowered and noisy, while the optional 2.8-liter V6 was plagued by reliability issues and lacked torque. It didn't inspire confidence on or off the road. It sat awkwardly in the lineup, not luxurious like the Sierra trim, and not affordable like the base model. It was a tweener that didn't appeal to either end of the spectrum. The Ford Ranger launched in 1983 with better engines, stronger marketing, and real trim variety. Japanese imports still offered better reliability and value. The S-15 Durango couldn't compete. Number 6, the 1975 GMC Gentleman Jim, one of the earliest examples of an American manufacturer turning a pickup into a luxury lifestyle vehicle, decades before the idea became mainstream. In the mid-1970s, American pickup trucks were known as bare-bones tools of labor. They were built to haul, tow, and endure, not to pamper the driver. The interiors were Spartan, the exteriors purely functional, and luxury was a foreign concept. But in 1975, GMC dared to break the mold with a limited edition pickup called the Gentleman Jim. This was a truck that dressed in gold and black, came with a plush interior, and was marketed not to farmers or contractors, but to a different kind of driver. One who appreciated style, comfort, and performance. Let's explore the bold and mostly forgotten story of the 1975 GMC Gentleman Jim, a trailblazer in the luxury truck segment before the segment even had a name. To understand the significance of the Gentleman Jim, we need to rewind to the mid-1970s. Trucks were still mostly work vehicles. Bench seats, rubber floors, and minimal amenities were the norm. Options like cruise control or air conditioning were rare and pricey. Ford and Dodge were offering some custom packages, but none dared to go full luxury. GMC and Chevrolet shared platforms, but GMC was marketed as the more premium brand, making it the perfect candidate to experiment. Amid this atmosphere, GMC launched two unique limited edition trucks, Gentleman Jim, tailored for the urban cowboy, Beau James, a more traditional luxury truck for the ranching crowd. Available only in 1975, the Gentleman Jim was based on the GMC Sierra Classic half-ton pickup and featured black and gold two-tone paint with metallic gold accents, gold-colored grille, and tailgate trim. Gentleman Jim, decals and badges on the fenders. Special gold-colored wheels with bright center caps. Sport-style mirrors and trim bits that gave it a muscular yet refined look. This was a truck that looked like it was headed to a country club, not a construction site. Bucket seats, extremely rare in trucks at the time, with a center console, velour upholstery and wood grain trim, tilt steering wheel, full-gauge cluster, and deluxe AM/FM stereo, thick carpet, padded dash, and sound insulation. Luxury touches that wouldn't become common in pickups until the 1990s, offered with a 400 or 454 cubic inch V8, depending on configuration. Heavy-duty suspension and towing options available. Rear-wheel drive only, no 4x4 Gentleman Jims, were produced. While not a muscle truck in the modern sense, the Gentleman Jim was meant to offer strong performance and upscale features. A bold mix at the time. GMC aimed this truck squarely at a new kind of buyer, a successful urban or suburban man who wanted a truck, but didn't want to be seen as a blue-collar laborer. The Gentleman Jim was about image, rugged yet refined, powerful yet polished. It was pitched as a truck you could drive to the office, the ranch, or a date. Think, a cowboy who owned a real estate firm. The ads exuded a kind of tuxedo and boots vibe, and it worked for a very small niche, but the American market wasn't quite ready. Despite its ambition and striking appearance, the Gentleman Jim was discontinued after just one model year. Why? All the upgrades, interior, exterior, and engine, came at a high price. In 1975, many buyers weren't ready to spend car-level money on a pickup truck. The idea of a luxury truck for personal use wouldn't really take off until the 1990s with the Ford F-150 Lariat and the Silverado LTZ. Gentleman Jim was too early, and most consumers didn't understand it. In the mid-70s, gas prices and emissions regulations were becoming a concern. A truck with a 4.54 V8, flashy gold paint, and no four-wheel drive was a hard sell during a fuel-conscious time. Only a few thousand Gentleman Jim trucks were produced, and far fewer survive today. But its legacy is important. It predated modern luxury pickups by 2 decades. Today's $80,000 Ford Platinum or GMC Denali Ultimate owe a spiritual debt to the Gentleman Jim. Surviving examples are now rare and collectible, especially if they still have the original paint and interior. They're a hit at car shows where enthusiasts appreciate their uniqueness. Number 5. The 1983 GMC S-15 Desert Fox, one of the most overlooked and intriguing mini-truck variants of the early 1980s that tried to blend rugged capability with bold design during a time of transition in the compact truck market. The early 1980s were a pivotal time in the American truck market. The big, brawny full-sizers of the 70s were giving way to smaller, more efficient pickups. Fuel economy mattered. Maneuverability mattered. Buyers wanted capability in a package that didn't take up the whole driveway. Enter the 1983 GMC S-15, General Motors' response to the growing popularity of compact pickups. And from that platform came a rare and memorable variant, the S-15 Desert Fox. With bold graphics, off-road intent, and a name that sounded like a military code name, the Desert Fox seemed ready to conquer the dunes. But despite its flair and potential, it faded into obscurity almost as quickly as it arrived. Let's take a deep dive into this rare 4x4 experiment that deserved more love than it got. The compact pickup was evolving rapidly. Imports led the way. The Toyota Hilux, Datsun 720, and Mazda B-Series were gaining popularity. Ford and GM joined the fray with their own compact trucks. The Ford Ranger and the Chevy S10/GMC S-15 launched in 1982 as domestic responses to the import wave. Buyers now wanted versatility, daily drivability, decent fuel economy, and some off-road or lifestyle capability. In this environment, GMC needed a way to give the S-15 some personality. The answer was a trim package with off-road flavor and visual punch. The Desert Fox. The Desert Fox was not a standalone model, but an optional appearance and equipment package available on the GMC S-15, designed to give it a rugged, adventurous image. Distinctive graphics package, sweeping side decals featuring stylized desert-themed striping in tan, orange, and brown tones. Special badging that said Desert Fox, evoking off-road adventure and military-grade toughness. Typically offered in earth-tone body colors like beige, brown, and copper. The kind of paint you'd expect to see on a truck parked near a Joshua tree. Raised white letter tires and styled steel wheels added to the off-road aesthetic. It looked like it belonged in a Mad Max spin-off or a Southwestern camping catalog. Available with four-wheel drive 4x4, a key differentiator in a segment where many compacts were still rear-wheel drive only. Came with off-road-oriented suspension, including a firmer ride and additional ground clearance. Optional skid plates, locking rear differential, and limited slip setup gave it more actual capability than its graphics might suggest. Engine choices. The standard 2.0-liter 4-cylinder, underpowered. Optional 2.8-liter V6, more capable, but not a powerhouse. In essence, it was a cosmetic and mild performance upgrade, offering just enough capability for light trail use or winter weather, with the visual promise of more. GMC marketed the Desert Fox to a very specific audience. Young drivers looking for style and utility, buyers who didn't want a full-size truck, but still wanted something that looked rugged, urban and suburban adventurers who didn't need a Jeep, but liked the aesthetic of off-roading. It was a lifestyle vehicle, a concept that wouldn't become mainstream until SUVs and trucks like the Jeep Cherokee XJ and Ford Explorer redefined the segment later in the decade. Unfortunately, the Desert Fox lacked the marketing muscle and name recognition to push it into the spotlight. Despite its unique flair, the Desert Fox quickly faded from GMC's lineup. Several factors contributed. Most buyers chose more conservative trims: Base, Sierra Classic, or High Sierra. The Desert Fox, with its flashy decals and off-road posturing, was too radical for the average truck buyer. The 2.0-liter engine was barely adequate. Even the V6, while better, struggled to deliver meaningful off-road punch. No true heavy-duty hardware, locking hubs, or high-performance shocks, so it looked tougher than it was. GM shifted focus to more traditional trims and equipment bundles. The company saw greater returns in simplifying offerings, and the Desert Fox was quietly phased out after just a couple of years. By 1985, the package was gone. No press release, no send-off, just silence. Number 4, the 1978 GMC Street Coupe, the muscle-inspired trim package that followed the Beau James and quietly faded away as the 70s muscle era gave way to the 80s realities. In the late 1970s, full-size American trucks were caught in a cultural and regulatory squeeze. The muscle truck craze of the early 70s was rapidly dying under the weight of rising fuel prices, stricter emissions rules, increasing insurance costs, and shifting consumer preferences toward practicality and economy. In this turbulent environment, GMC released the 1978 Street Coupe, a muscle-styled trim package aimed at keeping the fire of performance alive, even if only on the surface. It was the unofficial successor to the Beau James trim and represented one of GMC's last attempts to market a sporty image before the realities of the 80s muscle truck market sank in. The Beau James had debuted earlier in the decade as GMC's attempt to blend luxury and muscle, a full-size pickup with upscale trim and performance cues. By 1978, the muscle truck market was shrinking dramatically. Insurance premiums on high-powered V8s skyrocketed. New emissions controls choked power outputs. Buyers increasingly wanted comfort, economy, and utility rather than pure performance. Within this landscape, the Street Coupe was less about raw power and more about appearance and attitude, a nod to the muscle truck era that was fading fast. Sport striped decals that ran along the side of the truck, signaling performance intent. Rally wheels, a visual nod to muscle cars of the era. These wheels added aggressive flair. A lowered stance was sometimes included, enhancing the sporty look. Distinctive badging and trim details separated it from the standard Sierra Classic and other GMC trucks. Equipped with a big V8 engine, often the 5.7-liter or larger 7.4-liter engine option. Though performance was already being limited by emissions and fuel economy concerns, the Street Coupe still packed a respectable punch. Manual and automatic transmissions were available, depending on buyer preference. Unlike the full muscle truck boom earlier in the decade, the Street Coupe emphasized styling over outright power. It looked aggressive and fast, even if engine output was compromised. Lifestyle appeal, aimed at younger buyers wanting the look and feel of a muscle vehicle in a pickup body. A driver's truck, fun and sporty, but practical enough for everyday use. The Street Coupe was a rare blend, a truck that could haul work materials on Monday and turn heads at a weekend car meet. The Street Coupe was introduced at the tail end of 2000, an era that was already ending. Buyers wanted more fuel-efficient and practical trucks. The gas crisis left little room for trucks that guzzled fuel just to maintain muscle cred. GM's focus shifted to making trucks more reliable and economical. Performance and bold styling packages were deemed less profitable and more risky. Smaller trucks like the Ford Ranger and Chevrolet S-10 began to capture new buyers. SUVs offered off-road ability and family utility in a new package. By the early 80s, muscle-styled full-size trucks like the Street Coupe were simply out of place and sales dried up. Today, the Street Coupe stands as a rare collector's gem, emblematic of the last gasps of the muscle truck era. Its bold graphics and sporty wheels make it visually memorable. It represents a moment when trucks tried to wear the muscle car badge before the segment evolved. Relatively rare today, it is often overshadowed by more famous muscle trucks, but holds appeal for fans of unique late 70s American vehicles. A restored Street Coupe can still command interest at classic truck shows as a symbol of muscle styling's final stand. The 1978 GMC Street Coupe was never about breaking speed records or dominating the market. Instead, it was a styling statement, a tribute to muscle trucks past and a final bow to a dying trend. It embraced the muscle truck attitude in the face of an industry shifting gears toward economy and versatility. And though it quietly disappeared by the early 1980s, its bold graphics, rally wheels, and big V8 heart keep its memory alive among enthusiasts today. Number 3, the 1983 GMC Sierra Classic Big Dooley V35-3+3, an imposing but rare heavy-duty crew cab truck that has largely been forgotten today. The early 1980s were a pivotal time for American heavy-duty trucks. Gasoline-powered V8s were still king for power and performance, but diesel engines were rapidly rising in popularity for their superior torque, fuel efficiency, and durability. Amid this shift, GMC offered a truck that embodied old-school brute force with an intimidating presence and a rare heavy-duty configuration, the 1983 GMC Sierra Classic Big Dooley V35-3+3. This truck was a no-nonsense, workhorse-ready crew cab that married traditional gasoline power with serious payload capacity. But it was short-lived and largely forgotten as diesel took over the heavy-duty market. Nicknamed the Big Dooley, a term that captures its hulking, rugged, and aggressive nature. The name suggested a truck that was both tough and unrefined, built to get the hardest jobs done without fuss. The V35 code denoted a 3/4-ton, 3,500 series, heavy-duty truck aimed at commercial and industrial users. The 3+3 referred to the dual rear wheel setup on each side, essentially a 6-wheel truck, 2 front, 4 rear. This dual rear wheel DRW setup improves stability, load capacity, and traction, especially for towing heavy trailers or hauling large loads. Powered by a massive 454 cubic inch, 7.4-liter gasoline V8, one of the largest and most powerful V8s GM offered at the time. This engine produced strong horsepower and torque figures capable of handling demanding work tasks. Though a thirsty power plant, the 454 V8 was renowned for its raw strength and reliability in tough conditions. The crew cab body style made the Big Dooley a practical choice for work crews needing space for passengers and tools. Its imposing size, squared-off lines, and large dual rear wheels gave it a menacing road presence. The kind of truck that visually said, "I'm built for business." The interior was functional and durable, focused on the workday rather than luxury. Heavy-duty suspension and reinforced frame components made it a reliable platform for demanding jobs. The Big Dooley was positioned as a specialized heavy-duty pickup for industries like construction, agriculture, and commercial hauling. It was a niche vehicle, not widely produced or marketed to the average consumer. This exclusivity, combined with the rise of diesel trucks, made the Big Dooley a rare sight on roads even in its heyday. Diesel powertrains, with their better fuel economy, higher torque at low RPMs, and greater longevity, became the natural choice for heavy-duty trucks. Diesel models from GM, Ford, and Dodge rapidly took over the segment, pushing big gasoline V8s like the 454 out of favor. The early 80s energy concerns and fluctuating fuel prices made gas-guzzling 454 V8s less practical for commercial operators. Maintenance costs and the high price of gasoline further accelerated the shift to diesel. Buyers wanted trucks that could haul heavier loads more efficiently. They also preferred improved comfort and technology, which newer diesel trucks began to offer. As a result, the Big Dooley was quietly phased out, with few survivors today. The 1983 GMC Sierra Classic Big Dooley stands as a symbol of the last generation of big gas-powered, heavy-duty pickups. Its rarity and distinctive dual rear-wheel crew cab setup make it a collector's curiosity among vintage truck enthusiasts. It represents a bridge between the old muscle V8 workhorses and the modern diesel-powered heavy haulers that dominate today. While it never achieved widespread fame, the big Dooley's brute force and no-nonsense attitude continue to resonate with fans of classic American trucks. The 1983 GMC Sierra Classic Big Dooley Va 35 3+3 was a heavyweight champion of an era transitioning away from big gasoline engines toward diesel dominance. It was a tough, practical, and intimidating truck built for those who demanded power without compromise. But it arrived just as the market moved on. Today it remains a rare and largely forgotten relic, a glimpse into the final chapter of traditional big block V8 muscle in American heavy-duty pickups. Its story reflects broader trends in fuel economy, engine technology, and buyer priorities that reshaped the truck industry forever. Number 2, the 1989 GMC S-15 Gypsy, a rare and curious dealer-customized pickup often mistaken for a kit car. The late 1980s were a time of experimentation and niche marketing for many automakers. In an era when compact trucks were gaining popularity for their economy and maneuverability, some dealers and smaller outfits sought to create unique versions that stood out from the usual fleet of pickups. One such oddity was the 1989 GMC S-15 Gypsy, a short-lived, dealer-customized variant of GMC's compact S-15 pickup. What made the Gypsy unique, and why it remains a mysterious and rare vehicle today, is how it blurred the lines between truck and car, creating a hybrid that looked more like a kit car than a production model. The GMC S-15 was essentially a rebadged Chevy S-10, introduced in the early 1980s as GM's entry into the compact pickup market. It offered the practicality of a small pickup with better fuel economy, targeting urban buyers and those needing light-duty utility. The S-15 had a conventional pickup bed, rear-wheel drive or 4x4 options, and modest engine choices. Dealers sometimes sought to spice up basic models with cosmetic and functional tweaks to attract buyers looking for something different. These dealers' special editions were often regionally limited, built in small numbers, and featured unique paint, trim, or body modifications. The Gypsy was one such dealer customization, but its changes went beyond paint jobs. The Gypsy featured a unique body style that merged pickup utility with car-like aesthetics. Instead of the traditional open bed, it had a modified rear section that resembled a hatchback or SUV, blurring the lines between a compact truck and a passenger vehicle. The design cues made it look more like a kit car or custom-built vehicle rather than a factory production model. Its compact size and sleek shape stood in contrast to the more boxy pickups of the time. Various dealers added custom body panels, vinyl tops, and unique badging to distinguish the Gypsy from the standard S-15 interiors, were often upgraded with sportier seats, special upholstery, or added features not common in base models. Some examples reportedly had upgraded suspension or wheels for a sportier stance. The Gypsy was never a factory-backed special edition. It was entirely dependent on dealer enthusiasm and local demand. Because it was a low-production, dealer-only customization, the Gypsy was never widely advertised or distributed. Many buyers and even collectors today mistake surviving Gypsies for one-off kit cars or homemade conversions due to their unusual appearance and rarity. Exact production numbers are unknown but believed to be very low, making surviving examples extremely rare. Without official GM backing or widespread marketing, dealer-customized vehicles like the Gypsy had limited reach and short production runs. The absence of factory warranty or support made dealers reluctant to continue extensive modifications. By the late 80s, buyers were gravitating toward more practical and reliable SUVs and compact pickups without aftermarket modifications. The niche market for car-truck hybrids was tiny and overshadowed by rising SUV popularity. The Gypsy's unconventional design confused many buyers who preferred traditional pickup styling or the emerging SUV look. Being mistaken for a kit car or custom conversion also hurt its credibility and resale value. Today, the 1989 GMC S-15 Gypsy remains a curious footnote in the history of compact trucks, a rare example of dealer creativity and niche marketing. For collectors of rare or unusual pickups, it represents a unique opportunity to own a hybrid vehicle that defied conventional categories. Its rarity and mystique have cultivated a small but passionate following among truck enthusiasts and custom car aficionados. The Gypsy is also a reminder of a bygone era when dealers had more freedom to experiment with vehicle design to meet local tastes. The 1989 GMC S-15 Gypsy stands out as an intriguing chapter in the compact pickup story, a rare dealer-crafted car-truck hybrid that challenged traditional pickup norms but disappeared almost without a trace. Though its impact was limited and its existence fleeting, the Gypsy reflects the spirit of customization and experimentation that thrived in the 1980s automotive world. It's a fascinating vehicle to study for anyone interested in the intersections of niche marketing, truck design, and automotive rarity. Number 1. The 1978 GMC Desert Fox K15 Special Edition. A rugged off-road package that faded into obscurity amid the late 70s challenges. The late 1970s saw a growing enthusiasm for off-road vehicles. Amid rising interest in trucks capable of tackling rough terrain, manufacturers began offering special packages aimed at outdoor adventurers and off-road enthusiasts. One such package was the 1978 GMC Desert Fox K15 Special Edition, a bold, eye-catching off-roader based on the classic K15 4x4 half-ton truck. Though the Desert Fox came with strong visual appeal and functional upgrades designed for off-road use, it ultimately became a victim of the era's fuel crises, tightening emissions regulations, and shifting consumer priorities. Today, the Desert Fox is a largely forgotten chapter in GMC's off-road legacy. The GMC K15 was a 4x4 half-ton pickup based on GM's full-size truck platform, sharing much with the Chevrolet K10.K15. Known for its durability and off-road capability, the K15 was popular among those who needed a reliable work and recreation vehicle. By the late 70s, GM began to offer special edition packages to capitalize on the growing demand for trucks with style and personality beyond mere utility. The Desert Fox stood out with its distinctive desert-themed graphics, aggressive Fox decals, bold stripes, and special Desert Fox badging. These graphics were designed to evoke ruggedness and off-road adventure, setting the Desert Fox apart from standard K15 trucks. It had a unique paint scheme, often featuring earth tones and tan accents that reinforced the desert theme. Roll bars provided extra protection and a sportier look, signaling the vehicle's off-road intentions. The suspension was tuned for better handling on rough terrain, often featuring heavier-duty springs and shocks. It came equipped with off-road tires and rally-style wheels that enhanced both grip and appearance. Other possible enhancements included skid plates and protective trim pieces, all aimed at improving durability in tough conditions. The 1973 and 1979 oil crises severely impacted consumer behavior, driving a sharp shift away from large, fuel-thirsty trucks. The Desert Fox's big V8 engines and rugged off-road setup were at odds with the growing demand for fuel-efficient vehicles. High fuel prices and rationing made owning a specialized off-road truck less practical for most buyers. The late 70s saw stricter government regulations on emissions, forcing manufacturers to detune engines and add emissions control gear. This often led to reduced power outputs and performance, which hurt trucks marketed for their brute force and off-road prowess. Safety mandates increased vehicle weight and complexity, further dampening performance and economy. Buyers began favoring smaller trucks, four-door SUVs, or cars over specialized off-road packages. The market for niche special editions like the Desert Fox was small and shrinking. As a result, many such packages were either discontinued quickly or overshadowed by newer vehicle types. The Desert Fox sold modestly but never captured the imagination or sales numbers of earlier or later off-road icons. It quickly faded from GMC's lineup after just a few model years. Today, the Desert Fox is largely a footnote in the history of American off-road vehicles, overshadowed by legendary trucks and SUVs that followed. Among collectors and off-road enthusiasts, it's a somewhat obscure gem, a snapshot of a time when manufacturers experimented with style and capability amid a challenging market. The Desert Fox represents a late 70s blend of style, capability, and marketing aimed at an outdoor-loving demographic. It highlights the challenges American automakers faced balancing performance, fuel economy, and emissions in a rapidly changing regulatory and economic environment. As a special edition, it illustrates how manufacturers attempted to maintain interest in trucks by offering unique trims and personality during a difficult sales period. It serves as a reminder that not all bold designs succeed commercially, and that even rugged vehicles can become forgotten due to circumstances beyond their control.